I bought this usual place. Apparently it doesn't work. The reason I bought it is because I already have the battery. It seems to work and then it doesn't. I've just drilled 2 holes with it and it drilled absolutely perfectly, and then I went, see the way it's doing that? And now nothing. Lights on. Oh. But that doesn't sound right. Oh, and now it stopped again. Oh, put it on the higher speed. Doesn't sound right in there, does it? Something's rattling around in there. So yes, there's a fault somewhere. Strange fault. Seems to come and go and sound rather strange. Right, just discovered something a little bit odd. Lights out. Lights on. Not working. Now if we wait, it's sort of flashing, I think. Yeah, I think that's definitely a flash. Gone out. And then... So I wonder if this is trying to tell us something. But there's something else that's a puzzle. Look at this. It's more... If I do it from there, you can see that there's something very weird going on there. I wasn't doing that just now when I first started playing with it, but it is doing that now. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if it's possible that the chuck is actually loose or if it's the mechanism inside. It doesn't look like the whole chuck. The inside looks concentric and tight with everything else, so I don't actually know. Let's see if that is loose. It's a Torx bit, amazingly. Well, it's not loose. No, something's definitely not right, isn't it? The whole thing is moving. That is just bizarre, that is. Now, I wonder which way we need to turn this. That's a little bit fragile looking. I think I'll try and find a tougher version of this. I just went to try and undo it with this, but something feels more locked up than it should be. So I think I'm going to undo those and see what happens when you take this head off, because this all just feels really weird. Crikey, it makes you wonder if someone's been in here before. These are really, really loose. Let's see. Look at that. It's bad. I think finger tight is stretching it. Oh. Come on. Three. Let's see if this one's any tighter. So it does make you wonder. Right. That's those four. Oh, well, that's handy. You can't really get it wrong because it's got a little arrow there and BL motor. No, right. How does this? Oh, look, that's got worse. Oh, does this come off? Oh, perhaps it doesn't come off. I thought that would come out. No. No. Perhaps it wants us to undo this bit as well. Are they all the same size? Yep, looks like it. Get some of these out of the way. Now these are a lot tighter. Strange about those front ones. Right, let's have a look if this comes off now. Does this come off? Don't tell me this is not going to want to come off because the front piece is going to come off first and the front piece won't come off. Oh, must be light cover. It doesn't want to come back on there, but never mind. Oh, there it goes. It just does not want to come apart the back here, that's for sure. Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's being held at the front, isn't it? So even though that doesn't seem to want to come apart, it's got to come apart there. Oh, I nearly tore my arm off with the impact bit, but I just managed to unscrew that. So what I need to do now is put something in here that I can tap round to see if I can actually get this off, because I'm convinced that this is somehow getting in the way of that. I bet there's a snap ring or something in there. I'm missing something, obviously. That's a fairly big hex key, so if we put that in there, close that up. That still seems a bit, oh, I was going to say a bit tight, but obviously not, maybe not too tight. Come on, you can come. Right, so that's that. I'll just drop that screw in there. Right, so we've got that. Oh, that's nice and loose. Oh, that's all feeling very loose now. Right, so that's them three out of the way. Come on. This is a bit gooey. Oh right, there's our selection thing. You can see that just goes click, 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 click around there. Oh. Try and get it to sit back where it's supposed to sit. Whole load of springs. Oh, is that why it was all loose? Because it's a design? That doesn't make sense, does it? Look at that. Why on earth would you let it do that? That seems very odd. Never mind. Right. How can I stand that? Will that stand in the middle there? Probably not. Now what have we got here? We've got a spring. That's in the middle, so if we poke that back underneath there, that's in the middle of there. Plastic ring that lifts off. So that was effectively under there, so try and keep these things vaguely in order. So that just lifts off. So that was under there like that. Then what's this? Is this threaded? Oh, there's two more screws buried under there. And they're tiny. What are they? Tiny little PH1s. I wish manufacturers wouldn't do this, hide things where you can't see them. Never mind. Right, so that's this. So is that? I don't know. Let's see if this lifts off first. Please tell me you haven't got any more hidden bits. No, right, that's coming up. Well, that's our trigger assembly, that's our forward and reverse. This is obviously just a load of wires. I wonder if that's got any electronics potted in it. Yes, I think it has, because there's a capacitor sticking up there. I hate that sort of thing. Yep, and this is locked up solid. That's a brushless motor. That's the gear selector. You can just about see that moving in there. So let's lift out. And can we lift that bit off? Oh. Right, so that's our gears. Put a spot of red on here to remind me that that was facing up towards me, because I'm forever getting to the stage where I can't remember which side is which. Ooh. Yes, so I didn't want that to do that either. Oh, mind you, that seems to have survived. Oh, 2 springs. Right. Is this seized and stuck? So is it turning from this end? Right, let's just try turning these a little bit and see if that's... No, I can't tell. I need something to turn that with, and I can't wave the motor around. Will that fit in there? Yeah, I think that's turning okay. I'll have a closer look at that in a minute. Right, so what have we got here? Oh, there we go. Bit of metal with some clear grease. So they did put a bit of effort into this. No, it's all covered in grease on the outside of the motor. Oh, there's nothing in there for it to catch on. That all looks nice. So I can't see anything wrong with that. So what was that? It felt like it was stuck. Well, it can't have been, can it? It's weird that it's sitting down, but it doesn't. Oh, maybe that's it there then, because you'd want it to wedge tight, wouldn't you? You want that to. Yeah, oh, I think we've got it there. So this doesn't really have any support at this end apart from the gearbox housing. Supported at that end there by that bearing. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so very strange that. I can't see what is happening here. Well, it's a pity, because what I'd like to do is reassemble it with just the motor and check that the motor's okay, but you can't really, because it's relying on the gearbox for its support at this end. I thought I'd just try and show you more clearly about the way this mounts, because that's the gearbox part, and it's got this shape here which fits in there, and it's got this peg, so this has to be in the right spot. Once it's in the right spot, it's locked all the way around, and there's that shape on this half here. It hasn't got the peg part, but it's got that part. So this is pretty much a done deal. This, however, isn't. This is completely stupid, because this seems to rely on catching one of those slots, because as far as I can tell, that there is about a millimetre above the surroundings, if that, tiny amount, and that seems to catch it and hold that. And of course it does it the same on this side, it catches it there. And this is where the puzzle comes in, because if I put these two together, so I lift that one out, which we know has to be in the right place, and then I wiggle that around until it fits. Right, now we know that that goes down there, so we know we can't really get that bit wrong. Now we've got to come out a little bit. Now if we ignore this for a minute and make sure that we just lower this bit in, when this bit's in the right place, then it will just be in the right place, because it can't be anywhere else. Right, and that feels like it's gone into the right slot. It might not have done, but it feels like it has, and obviously I can't see the underneath. And then that leaves us with this bit, and this bit, this is where you're stuck, because this bit does not seem to want to go in any particular spot where it is locked in tight. Now that was down there, so I'm assuming that there is the locked in point. As you can see, it's got a little bit of movement on it, but I can't. This again, if it wasn't in the right spot, it simply would not fit in. So this bit is job done. We know that's okay. And that now seems to be as good as it's going to get. And this is where the puzzle is, because then you'd expect this to be as free as a bird to turn, because it's supported by that bearing there and the other bearing, which is in here. This is in the right place, so this should be free to turn. And it's not, look. I can barely turn it. I mean, I can turn it, but only barely. And if I lift it a fraction, it doesn't get any better, because it's rubbing inside here. Now, how is that possible? If these are all lined up, why is it doing that? So I don't know if it's because one of these pieces needs to be in here to lift this a fraction more, because that looks like it would help in there. But something is not right with that alignment. Now, whether that was like that from new, or whether it's like that now I've taken it apart, I don't know. But something is not right. Right, I've just reassembled this bit because I'm still trying to work out why this was all loose. And of course, now I've reassembled it, that's drill, screw, hammer. Put it on screw. That's your adjustments up to 21, so that seems to be okay. And this doesn't seem, well, I mean, it's got a tiny bit of play in it, but it seems pretty much okay. So that's got that far, which means that, of course, I've deliberately done it so that the front piece is not on, because I still want access to be able to take this on and off. I'm hoping that this will allow me to still take this off. Yeah, so let me take that one off and that one off, so that we can look at it. Right, so there's the top that screws on, so we'll ignore that for a minute. So that, as you can see again, there's the slot it goes into. So it just goes in there like that. So once that's in, ignore that for a bit, that's it. So there isn't any real room for error on that part. That's the bit that changes the speed of the gears, so that's our 2-speed gear selection. And then we've got this. Now, of course, if this is in here like that, once it's engaged, right, so that's fully engaged. So if we now put this back down exactly where it wants to sit, and again I'm looking all round, that seems to be in as far as it can go. The back here, that bearing looks like it's quite happily sitting down as far as it will go. And this obviously is free to move. I've just stuck a bit of tape on there so that you can clearly see. So that is obviously having no problem going round, and I can't hold it, so in other words it is actually working. There is a proper connection all the way through. If let's see if I can select another gear, move that over, and now it should go a lot slower. And back on that one. So we've got our different gears, and this is smooth running, no problem, everything fine. So you would think that if you put this back on, it would still be smooth running, no problems, fine. But of course, up until now, that has not been the case. So we know it's doable. In other words, we know that can run smoothly. Now pull that back out. Put this, obviously I have to put this in here now. That's going to try and jump straight out of my hand. But already it feels like a very tight fit. It feels like there's no clearance. I mean, I don't know how much clearance they expected that to have, and it could just be the magnets pulling it to one side that's making it feel like there's no clearance. But let's put that into there, and again this, and like I said before, it's very difficult to see when you've got this in place now because of all these other parts getting in the way. So that must sit down into there. I can see that that's not in straight, but of course it's not because this bit's not in straight. So there's clearly something funny going on around this bit. And I can't work out what it is. I'll keep fiddling with it because you obviously don't want to watch hours of me fiddling with this. Right, for anyone shouting at the screen that I've forgotten to put this on, I know I've forgotten to put this on, but I'm probably going to disconnect this bit or do something to get this on in a minute. More importantly is trying to work out what's going on here. I think that's in as good as it's going to get. And this, you might hear it, if I press it and hold it there as tight as I can, now this is turning freely. It may not look like it's turning freely because it's fighting the magnetism, but it is. It's actually turning freely within there. So we're pretty close to where things should be as far as I can tell. Now I could try pulling all this back out again to put this on first, or I can assemble this and then deal with this bit afterwards. I'm not sure which is the lesser of the two evils, but I think we have arrived at the exact spot that it's supposed to be in. Right, it's taken me about 10 minutes to get to this position where that is in, because to get this back in place, the gear thing, I had to lift it up again, and of course once I'd lifted it up again it all went out of alignment, but it still seems to be doing that, and then once it's over onto that point this will turn round. So the problem we've got is getting all of this to lock down and hold that in the perfect place so it won't move. And of course now I can't get to anything to turn it, so I can't actually see if everything is locked in its place. But I mean, you can see that, so that could still be the pressure of that case. I've got a few of these screws. I'll pop these screws in and then we'll see what that does. We just put a few of these in for now. Alright, I'll just do a few random ones up near this end, because it's clearly this end is the end that causes the problem. Of course I still haven't found out what the fault is. It just seems to be, it's almost as if it wasn't assembled correctly, but I'm not sure that I've made that much difference taking it apart and reassembling it. But I've definitely had some effect, because this has got some play in it now, but nothing like the play it had before. So I don't quite know what we've achieved there, but we've achieved something. Right, let's get the rest of these in. Oh, that's always a little bit worrying. I've got a load left over. Well, I've got 4 left. Oh, that's 4 at the end there, isn't it? So yeah, so those 4 left over at the end. I've got 2 little ones that go in there. which they're Phillips crossheads. So do those. Strange that they chose to swap over to Phillips crossheads on these two and use Torx bits on everything else, but there you go. Right, that seems, I don't know if that's super tight, but it seems pretty tight up there. Just need to get these a little bit tighter. Is that 10? Yep, 10. That's already done, that's already done. Come on, go. That's going. Right, that's going. Right, I think we'll just use this to do these. I think it's on a low setting. Yep, it is. That'll do. Right, that all seems to be on. So we've just got this piece to put on, which we can't with all of this on, so that'll have to be dismantled just so I can put that nose piece back on. What we'd like to know is it going to work? Let's see if I can move any of this inside here now. Oh, I think I can now. Right, let's try putting the battery back on then. That's presumably slow, and that's fast. Yeah, and that's not wobbling about all over the place. No, it's just, I don't understand that at all. What did we achieve? Maybe I'll notice something when I take this off again. Right, all back on. I can sort of see what might have been the original problem. It's just about possible, and of course I might have done it myself this time round. It's just about possible to assemble this with this not fully engaged all the way in as far as it goes. And I didn't look close enough, but that would have left these bits not quite fitted down properly, but it's just about possible, and then that would leave this with free play, which it now doesn't have. Right, well, let's go battery again. There's our screw. I can't remember which way around this goes. Is it a left hand thread? Yes it is, so we need to do that up. And it's 25. So I think this is a normal thread, so that goes on normally, but you can't turn it. Let's see if we can get that to grip it. So I'm just using a hex key. Right, is that on there tight? Yep, that's on there. It hasn't really got to be very tight, because obviously most of the time you're going in the direction that you want to go when you're drilling. And then this of course is going the opposite way, so we're sort of undoing it, except we're not, we're doing it up. I'm going to just use this DeWalt gun on it. It's got quite a bit of oomph behind it, so that should be tight enough. Right, so we should be in business. So with a bit of luck, that is now fixed. Bit of 4x2 10mm drill bit. It's not the hardest test in the world, but you know, it's a reasonable test. But not bad. So there you have it then. One Kielder 18 volt brushless motor, cordless drill, fixed.